Let's start with an ambiguous, concerning, scary situation that Kirill Kaprizov and the Minnesota Wild find themselves in. So here's what we know, and we don't know everything, but this is what's been reported. Kirill Kaprizov is I don't know if wanted is the right word, but being held in his country's borders because allegedly he at one point had a fraudulent military ID. Now, whether that's true or not, we don't know. We don't know what the motivations are to keep Kaprizov in Russia. But he has tried to leave the country twice, according to Michael Russo, who's been talking to the Minnesota Wild people, and he has not been allowed to leave. We know that Brittany Griner was held in Russia, and she pleaded guilty to possession of marijuana. That's been a terrible situation to watch unfold. And now Kaprizov is apparently stuck in Russia. The Minnesota Wild have not wanted to say too much about this, but they're saying they're not pressing the panic button yet. Are you pressing the panic button wrong?
I wouldn't press the panic button, but I would be nervous. And this is the reason why. One, they probably are a little bit nervous. But also they have other players. Kirill Kaprizov is definitely one of their best, or the best, or one of the best. They just signed Marc-Andre Fleury. The Flower is back for 2 more years. But when you think about this is the reason why. One, you can't put too much in the media because Russia can look at Twitter and the internet just like everybody else. If we tip our hat to how important he is, I think Russia uses that, to be honest. I mean, this is political chess, what they're doing right now. Like, the rumor is they have some Russian detainees in the U.S. that they've been trying to get released for years, that they've been trying to get back in their jails. And whether it's they don't want those guys to flip on Russia and give up secrets, tell where the bodies are buried, tell where the nuclear weapons are being held. I don't know what, but Russia's really been trying to get these guys. They've tried this before, from what I hear. And the Brittany Griner thing, I think they said the pleading guilty was just to get the process started. So now we have one of your guilty, you have one of ours. Let's trade. Well, this is the problem. She was wanted for like marijuana hash oil. Mm-hmm. So the oil, which is probably in the U.S. a misdemeanor, slap on the wrist, maybe some community service, pay a fine. In Russia, people are saying no matter what you do, they can give you 10 years if they want, because it's just how it is when you're in a dictatorship. When you look at the U.S. criminals of Russia, these guys are terrorists, or they're money launderers, or they, have done some bad stuff. Mm-hmm. Like, we don't just arrest Russians for like speeding tickets. So the people we have detained are like, whether it's a war criminal, whether it's a somebody that they deemed a threat to the U.S. national security. These are like serious, and they're playing with the U.S. citizens in order to get their people back that have done bad things, and they're scared, that they're going to tell. And that's what's sad about this. Like, Kirill Kaprizov is probably a little bit scared, because something like a fake ID, that's literally not a crime. Like, if I have a fake ID, again, I'm just going to be slapped on the wrist. I'm going to be made fun of, and I might do, 30 days of community service or something. Like, if that, because I know it's a military ID. So it's a little bit different, but I'm pretty sure the military in the U.S., if you had a fake U.S. military ID to try to get into a bar, you're not getting arrested. It's going to get taken. It might get reported to the military. Like, hey, there's a guy here with fake military IDs and dog tags. Mm-hmm. They're probably going to see a nice little government letter. Hey, please stop impersonating a government official. Now, if you try to get something serious out of it, who knows what? Yeah, maybe you might get a little bit of trouble, but you're not going to be arrested and detained in the country. So that's what's a little bit sad about this. And who knows? They might have made it up. It might be a sticker of Russia on his passport, and they're just trying to say it was a government, a fake military ID. But it's a serious matter. I wouldn't panic, but I'd be a little bit worried.
I've got no clue what the Russian requirement is to serve in their military, because I think they're implying that Kaprizov dodged his military service. But
okay.
This is, and I don't know for sure, but this is what's scary. So the name Ivan Fedotov, he was arrested and sent to a remote military base in Russia July 5th for the exact same thing. And that's an NHL goalie prospect for the Philadelphia Flyers. So clearly, this is not just a Kaprizov issue. That, like, NHL players all around that country might be being used as a bargaining chip. And Kaprizov is as prominent along with, Ovechkin, a couple others. He's probably in the 5 most recognizable Russian NHL stars right now.
Right.
So if Fedotov, who's like a prospect, is getting held up for this reason, I can only imagine that Kaprizov is very much on their radar, which is super scary.
Wow, that's sad. That's sad because if I'm Kaprizov, I probably don't go home right now, especially with everything going on. Like Brittany Griner, all this stuff. I know if he did dodge military time, you've done it. And again, he's young, so people just think they're invincible sometimes. I'm flying my family to the U.S. I'm rich now. Like I'm flying them to the U.S. I'm getting the owners to get a jet. Let's get my family out of Russia. They can come hang out with me in the summer, and we can get them back. Yeah, that's a tough one. What's next?
Yeah. Yep, really tough. A lighter topic. Twins have 2 All-Stars. Byron Buxton had a very up and down first half of the season, but the bottom line is, I think 23 home runs, just an extra base hit machine, unbelievable defensively. Only hit like 215, but he had a lot of power. And then Luis Arraez, who hit 348 and leads the league in batting average. Those are the 2 All-Stars. Ron, which one did you enjoy watching more in the first half of the season?
I'd say Buxton. Like Buxton is just because of what he did. Arraez, like it was cool to see the hitting and the consistent hitting. He was able to do things that a lot of people did not think he could do. I think he was one of the top 3 hitters when we talked about him last time. He started tweeting pictures of him sleeping in the bed with his bat. I think Dustin Morse tweeted it out, saying this is what he does. He sleeps with his bat, like to get, I don't know. I mean, it was a weird tweet, but whatever. I definitely Buxton, because of the outfield stuff, some of the plays he makes, you're like, man, some of the bombs he hits, the back-to-back bombs. It became fun to watch. I thought they might have had maybe one more. But Carlos Correa maybe wasn't as consistent, but I thought he would have been an all-star as well. But yeah, no, it's cool to see 2 All-Stars as they head into the All-Star break, having the lead like that. The biggest thing is don't go planning weddings in the bye week. The All-Star break. Don't plan weddings. Don't try to go mountain, climbing and skiing. Like my hope is that the Twins players all sit out on a boat somewhere in Lake Minnetonka, rest up, get in the weight room, throw, don't do anything crazy, don't get hurt. Same with Buxton. Don't do anything in this All-Star game to get hurt. Like if there's a fly ball going to the wall, let it go. Like who cares? Like don't do something stupid like trying to steal a base or get an extra base in an All-Star game. And then you tear something up, or you not tear it up, but you know how he is. He gets dinged up. But yeah, no, I definitely enjoy watching Buxton earlier in the season.
Twins play the Brewers and White Sox this week before the All-Star break. All-Star game is next Tuesday. Last one for you. Speaking of All-Star games, the WNBA All-Star game, Ron, was yesterday. The Lynx Sylvia Fowles had a dunk in the game in her final All-Star game. It's her final season after an unreal career, 8 years in Minnesota. Ron, what is the legacy for Fowles as a Minnesota sports icon as she goes into her final few games?
It's tough to see the last season be this bad, but it happens. Some people say, I always looked at, I forgot the movie, but it was a movie they talked about Lena Horne, and Lena Horne always knew when to leave. She knew when her voice wasn't working and wasn't going to work out. Not to say Sylvia Fowles held on too long. She's fine. It's just that team, like she could have probably found a better time to retire. But it is what it is. Like, it's just one of those things where like Diana Taurasi and Sue Bird, I know everybody's hoping for them to have a same type of, final season. Cause I think this is Sue Bird's as well. Michael Jordan, he came back and ended up winning more, but then that whole Wizards thing was just super weird. There's so many guys you can look at and be like, man, like their final season, just like Peyton Manning. That's probably one of the best ways to walk out a champion. Jerome Bettis, he walked off a champion with the Steelers. Everybody doesn't get to make that decision though. Everybody can't walk away. I think Ray Lewis is the same thing. Like he came back that one last ride and then they ended up winning the Super Bowl. So some guys do it and get it done the right way and get to walk off a champion. And some people, their final season is like, man, it's brutal. But in the All-Star game to get a dunk, I think that was cool. Hopefully I saw a high school girl who did it, who's going to Stanford. So more and more women now are starting to realize they can do it. And not to say it wasn't a thing. I think women before just never thought about dunking. Some of the taller women, it was like you weren't telling them to go dunk a ball, but athletes are getting better. faster, stronger, taller. When I look at Sylvia Fowles, her legacy for me will be the Lindsay Whalen days. Like those were the days that I want to remember her. Like when Lindsay Whalen was playing with her, she was one of the best players I've seen, you know, and that was a great group. Simone, what was this? Augustus, Maya Moore, like those. That's the Sylvia Fowles legacy, because I know Lindsay Whalen loves posting like the meme of her and Sylvia Fowles, and you know she loves talking to her, talking about her. Like that's what I think her legacy is going to be, kind of like a Lindsay Whalen. We'll stick with that era of it and not this season.
Yeah, she extended the Lynx dynasty because the Lynx had the 2 titles in 11 and 13, and then Fowles came along in 15, and they won 2 more with her. So they turned it into, you know, kind of a mini dynasty to a mega dynasty. And I think Fowles was, you know, arguably the, you know, 1A and 1B with Maya Moore for those title teams.
Yeah.